Rolling out powerful 5G technology throughout the United States. However, some studies show a link between cell phone radiation and cancer.
Pioneering the technology that'll roll out in the late summer. Now, the industry says 5G could be 100 times faster than current service, but it requires more equipment closer to you, and some don't like that. The race to build a 5G network.
Today is a very exciting day.
The city of Sacramento fast-tracking the technology last year, partnering with Verizon, hoping to draw tech startups and innovation to the city. But 5G waves don't travel as far as current wireless frequencies. Instead of large cell phone towers spread far apart, it requires small cell sites closer together.
This will cause cancer.
Donna Barron is protesting plans to build small 5G cell sites on light poles in her Maryland neighborhood. She's one of several people raising health concerns.
This stuff is untested on kids. Their safety is not certain.
These untested technologies are, at this time, not ready to be unleashed into our lives.
Research on the effects of cell radiation has been inconsistent. According to the National Cancer Institute, a limited number of studies have shown some evidence of statistical association of cell phone use and brain tumor risks, but most studies have found no association.
Can cell phones really cause cancer? It's been a question that's dodged researchers for years. But a group of experts are now saying the results of some tests are pretty surprising.
Millions, maybe billions of us constantly call, text, click, take pictures, and play on our cell phones. Even the top cellular radiation researchers from around the world have a hard time untethering. But they gathered recently in North Carolina to talk about cell phone concerns and whether they really do increase our chances of developing cancer. The panel voted that the results from years of testing on mice and rats were more significant than originally thought. They say they found clear evidence that phone radiation caused tumors in the hearts of rats, similar to tumors in people.
The race is on among cell phone providers to upgrade to 5th generation wireless technology, or 5G. That would require installation of new equipment across the U.S., a gargantuan effort every wireless company is already working on individually. 5G uses high-frequency waves that support faster speeds but don't travel as far, requiring a network of antennas built in closer proximity than the existing infrastructure. Wireless companies plan to use light poles, streetlights, anything to minimize their expenses. But health experts worry about potential risks associated with exposure to radiation from cell phone antennas. Cell phones emit low levels of radio frequency energy, or RF. The International Agency for Research on Cancer identified RF fields as, quote, possibly carcinogenic to humans. And in March, a large-scale lifetime study of lab animals confirmed a link between cell tower radiation and cancer. The animals were exposed to levels legally permitted by the United States Federal Communications Commission. But the 5G rollout will effectively expose the entire population to dangerous effects.
The rollout of 5G is very frightening because what this is going to do is place a mini cell tower every 300 meters along every residential street in the country. And that's going to mean that nobody is going to be able to escape the radiation that comes from those 5G devices. If you walk down the sidewalk, if you live in a house there, you're going to be continuously exposed.
International Association of Firefighters disagrees. They began opposing cell towers on fire stations after firefighters complained of health problems.
These firefighters developed symptoms.
Dr. Gunnar Heuser conducted a pilot study on firefighters at a station with cell towers.
And the symptoms included problem with memory, problem with intermittent confusion, problem with weakness.
Heuser says their brain scans suggest even low-level RF can cause cell damage, and he worries about more vulnerable groups like kids.
So we found abnormal brain function in all of the firefighters we examined.
I just kept thinking, like, what's going on with my child?
Erratic, explosive behavior. Developing overnight, a Jekyll and Hyde transformation as a 4-year-old.
It was just swings that were very dramatic and uncalled for the situation.
She would be tantruming for an hour?
Oh, there have been times where it was an hour and a half, 2 hours. She wasn't really wanting to wake up from a nap, and she had a minor fever.
And what did the doctor say?
No big deal, just run-of-the-mill strep throat.
But curiously, at the same time the infection disappeared, so did little Alexia's bubbly disposition.
It hits overnight.
Yes, yeah.
A lot of screaming, a lot of hitting and kicking adults.
Alarmed, teachers isolated Alexia from the other preschoolers, even resorting to using bookshelves as barricades. They snapped these chilling pictures of a classroom in chaos.
Furniture would get tipped over, bins of toys were dumped or thrown at people. When we would try and keep her safe in like an isolated area, she would just continue to elevate and elevate.
But things would become their most dire when prolonged tantrums turned into threats towards her family and herself. Vanessa takes her girls on a seemingly routine stop for a midweek treat until Alexia insists on seconds.
She said, "Mommy, give me your milkshake." And I said, "No, Alexia." And then she counted 1, 2, 3. And then I heard a click.
The toddler unbuckles her car seat and starts rummaging through her mother's purse.
As I picked my head up, she was stabbing me in the eye with my mascara wand. I was scared. I was scared for all of our safety. This isn't normal, you know. 4-year-olds don't unbuckle their seatbelts in the car to stab their mommy in the eye with a mascara wand all over a milkshake.
12-year-old Parker's brain
Get away! Get away!
is under attack.
Get out!
Mysterious outbursts that look like mental illness. His parents desperate for answers.
It's okay, Parker, we got you.
Recording these horrifying moments, hoping that someone might know what's wrong and how to stop it.
Behave yourself. I want my boy back.
When he became socially anxious and shut himself off, what was your reaction?
This is strange.
That paralyzing anxiety led to obsessive-compulsive behavior. Their normally low-key boy suddenly tortured by inexplicable rage.
Our son is in the midst of an absolute raging flare. You need to sit down and behave yourself.
Authorities in Ohio have been getting some strange calls about so-called zombie raccoons.
Zombie raccoons sound like something out of a bad horror film, but police in Ohio say that this is not a Hollywood script. They have received over a dozen calls recently about animals exhibiting very strange behavior.
In the past couple of weeks, Youngstown police have been called to over a dozen of these raccoon calls, and all of them have the same report of what they are calling strange zombie-like behavior. And all of them are happening in the middle of the day.
Looked over there, and he got distracted, and he saw a raccoon coming our way.
Robert Cogasol's playtime with his dogs was interrupted by a feisty and sick raccoon last week.
I got the dogs back in the house. The raccoon followed us right to the front door.
Once inside, Robert, a wildlife photographer, grabbed his camera to document what he called extremely strange behavior.
He would stand up on his hind legs, which I'd never seen a raccoon do before. And he would show his teeth, and then he would fall over backwards and then go into almost like a comatose condition.
Robert attempted to scare the raccoon away, only to find the animal was not interested in leaving. Reports detailing particular behavior and large noises or motions not scaring the animals away. The majority of the calls happened in the daytime too, and raccoons are nocturnal. Those animals, including the one in Robert's yard, were ultimately euthanized. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources tells me it doesn't sound like rabies,